Hello everyone, I'm Krasiattasio and it is time for the monthly predictions for December. I am, following the path of the moon and seeing what kinds of events the moon is producing when she meets planets, stars, and aspects that the moon makes. So basically, the month begins with the appearance of the first lunar crescent. So we still have few days until the previous month finishes, but let's start following up the path of the moon. Before that, to tell you that we will be having a few significant stellar events, and this will be the heliacal rise of Jupiter first. This will be the phase of visibility of Jupiter, because now in this moment Jupiter is invisible, so we cannot, if you look at the sky in the evening, you will not be able to see Jupiter. This is because Jupiter is hidden in the rays of the sun. But around 16th of December, you will see Jupiter appearing in Scorpio, and this will be a true blessing. But when following up the path of the moon, I will mention this again. And then on the on the 2nd of December, Saturn becomes invisible, hiding in the rays of the sun. Again, this is event that I will mention and it will explain the meaning. And then on the 2nd and the 3rd of December, Mercury, together with Jupiter in the same sign, becomes visible in Scorpio. So let's start now. Today, 30th of November, we are having the moon in Leo. In Leo, the moon is in the last degrees of Leo, where we have very important stars of spirituality, of astrology, of esoterics. So this is exactly what this lunar day will bring to those who are busy with such esoteric sciences. The day will be very productive. Well, the moon will be afflicted by Mars, so let's be careful in what we do. Let's not get involved in any risky situations and conflicts, and be careful when you're driving on this day, and I don't advise surgical interventions on this day. On the 1st of December, the moon will be in the first degrees of Virgo. Again, very interesting, very spiritual, very knowledgeable degrees, where we will most probably benefit from knowledge, sharing knowledge, communication, already powerfully and with better success than before, because the ruler of Virgo is preparing to rise, to become visible, and this is Mercury. So this particular day, 1st December, 2nd of December, these 2 days, we will probably benefit from communication, sharing knowledge, receiving knowledge. Travel is allowed with care, especially carefully on the 2nd December because of the square of Saturn. So on this particular day, we will benefit a lot from knowledge and communication and maybe trade. On the 3rd of December, the moon is conjoined Venus in Libra. And this is a very nice time, because it will be very good and productive for architectures, for designers, for those who do work related to art. It will be appropriate for beauty procedures. It will be very appropriate for travel, you may do surgical interventions on this particular day. This particular day is also wonderful for doing, because there will be a timing when the moon will be conjoined Spica. It will be wonderful for making Spica talismans. Spica is the most wonderful star of eloquence, spirituality, money. It's a star which has the nature of the conjunction of Venus and Mercury. But I have separate video on Spica, look at it. So on this particular day, I will be making Spica talismans, 3rd of December. You may travel, so you may benefit from this day, but don't do new initiatives. It's not appropriate. But for your routine days, it will be wonderful. Same is valid for the 4th of December. On the 5th of December, the moon is making exact conjunction with Mercury, who is really having the last day of invisibility, so quite powerfully preparing to rise in Scorpio, very deep degrees, very powerful for those who will be, who are engaged in healing, natural healers, even doctors who do chirurgs, medical doctors, those who do Reiki, those who are philosophers, psychologists, because there is a very interesting stellium meeting of 4 planets in Scorpio, and this is the moon, Mercury ready to rise already, Jupiter and the sun. So this will be quite interesting, powerful day, especially for this, and very good for esoteric activities. Not good for new initiatives. You may do surgical interventions if they are not very invasive. Not good for new initiatives because it's the last lunar day and the moon is preparing to disappear, to become invisible in the rays of the sun. So on this last lunar day, do your routine activities, and it is actually a good day. Then on the 6th of December, the month is actually ending because we are having the first lunar invisibility. So 6th of December, 7th of December, do as less as possible active duties. In antiquity, people would spend time contemplating, praying, meditating, because the legend is such that the lunar god is descending into the underworld to get busy with the destinies of the dead. So the lunar god is not very helpful to produce events for us, positive events. It is helpful for intuitive work, for meditation, contemplation. Could be really very good if you're doing some practices to enhance your intuition, and especially good it will be because this is happening in Scorpio and Mercury is already visible on this particular day. So the rise of Mercury on this day, if you publish something, if you do communication, if you decide to negotiate, it is fine, but better wait 2-3 days until the moon becomes visible for the first time. And this will be on the 8th of December. On the 8th of December, first lunar day, first Nisan, first visibility of the lunar crescent. So in the evening, if you look in the evening on the western horizon, on the 8th of December, you will see the first lunar crescent, which is the start of the new lunar month. And this is happening in Sagittarius, and the moon is conjoined with Saturn, and Saturn will be also becoming visible any moment. So this means that we are emphasizing on the importance of Jupiter, who becomes visible very soon, and on the importance of Saturn, who becomes visible as well. And this visibility of Saturn will certainly produce events, because the heliacal rise of Saturn will bring some Saturnian events. And you know, Saturn is a malefic planet, so we need to be careful. We need to be careful for all sorts of, you see, accidents. So it is very good on this particular day to be a little bit cautious. You may do, because of the visibility of Mercury, some communication work, some trade, but it might require a little bit more efforts because of Saturn. He's saying, watch for the detail, be very time-oriented, be very precise. So whatever we do, we need to be precise, time-oriented, and watch really for the details. And this is also valid for the 9th of December, when it is Sunday, when the moon is still conjunct Saturn in Sagittarius. But now Jupiter is preparing to rise. So this will be softening the Saturnian influences a little bit. And then on the 10th of December, the moon enters Capricorn, and there the moon is on a fall. But actually in Capricorn, the moon passes very interesting degrees of clairvoyance. Mediums would have these degrees, which are exactly under the horns of Capricorn. So these are absolutely not bad degrees. They're very interesting, very deep. While the moon is in Capricorn, Venus is making very nice aspect. Mercury is making nice aspect. So I see this as a very good day of structure. So if you will be doing new beginnings, not yet. Be careful because the ruler of Capricorn is still invisible, and this is Saturn. So you may do your routine work. It may be very good. Do very much spiritual work, because those degrees of clairvoyance and mediumship can be very interesting and very powerful. You may travel, no surgical interventions, probably also no negotiations yet. Very similar is the situation on the 11th of December. And then on the 12th of December, the moon has no course, but is entering very interesting spiritual degrees, which are associated with stars on the shoulders of Aquarius, stars of luck. So do your routine work. It may be luck, it may be fine, but just don't do new initiatives, because the moon, which has no course, is not supporting any particular new initiatives, but will be probably supporting your routine work because of these lucky degrees of the star Sadao suit from the shoulder of the Aquarius, and especially if you are very spiritual, because Aquarius is associated with spirituality. We're talking here about the constellation Aquarius because the moon is still in the very last degrees of Capricorn. And then the moon enters finally on the 13th of December. And on the 14th of December, the moon will be in Aquarius and will meet Mars. Careful on this day. Drive carefully. Don't do new beginnings. You may have this impulse because of the nature of Mars to do new things, to initiate new things, maybe to have new plans. But I suggest wait a little bit until the moon leaves the conjunction with Mars. Carefully drive, no surgical interventions. Very good, really very good for work, spiritual work, because on the 13th of December, the moon will pass the degrees of Fomalhaut, the fourth royal star of the spiritual guru, of the spiritual royal star of the spirituality. So you will benefit a lot if you really, on the 13th of December, use the energies of the day for enhancing your intuition or doing some empathic good deeds, and your routine work will be fine, but don't be careful not to get involved into risky situation. And then on the 14th of December, the moon is conjoining Mars, but also passing the exact sacred degrees. You may look, I have very, I think, interesting video on the sacred degrees of the zodiac, which are only 7 in the whole zodiac. So the moon passing through these sacred degrees, these are also the degrees of the guru, the degrees of the spiritual priest or priestess. So you may do spiritual practices. Again, carefully, Mars is there. Careful while driving, careful while doing surgical, better don't do surgical interventions. Yes, and no new initiatives until the moon is with Mars, rather not. And then the moon enters the beautiful degrees of Pisces, the spiritual Pisces. And this is powerful day because the ruler already is visible. This is Jupiter. So this is quite good for new initiatives, but you may need to involve additional efforts since Saturn is making aspect. So I would say serious new initiatives involving the registration of companies rather should be seen individually in your charts. I'm just giving you very basic information for keep in mind this would be a good day, but cautiously because it depends from activity to activity, from person to person. So you may contact me on my page for consultations if you're interested in seeing timings for elections, for future new initiatives, for whatever it is, marriage or company or anything, or medical intervention is very important. Okay, so this is happening on the 15th of December. Surgical interventions, not because of the aspect of Saturn. Same is valid for the 16th. Well, quite good spiritual day, empathic activities. If you help somebody, help old elderly people, animals, it is good for your karma on this particular day, especially in Pisces. This is wonderful. You may really benefit from spiritual practices because Jupiter is also very powerful on this particular day. 17th of December, the moon has no colors, void of course, and we said such moon is not dangerous, but it's also not delivering. Such moon is not associated with action, so you may not really expect return for your ambitious action. So I suggest on this day, don't do a lot. Do your routine work, and that's it. And then the moon enters on the 18th of December, the moon enters Aries, receives opposition with Venus. This can be a bit challenging for your relationships, so be patient with your beloved ones, with your partners. I don't see it as conflicting. I see it a little bit as challenging because moon opposing Venus can always put in question the emotions, the friendships a little bit without conflicts, because Mars is not making a bad aspect. And then the moon is in the degrees of Athena Pallas, which are beautiful degrees, very nice, associated with purity, with wisdom. So let your actions on this day be very wise. Also your routine actions. You may do some new things on this particular day, but as I said, this is pretty general. Rather, for every activity, another election could be made. But in general, this is a very good day. No surgical interventions. Communication fine. Travel is fine. And yes. And then you have on the 19th of December, the moon is, this is very similar situation, I would say, but already if you are having some challenges in your private life, this day could be a little bit easier in terms of emotional experiences. And then the moon on the 20th is passing through the Pleiades, you know, the seven sisters on the sky. They have different names in every culture, in every mythology, but they're very important. They're associated with wisdom, spirituality, clairvoyance, mediumship. So this is what the day could bring you. And on the 21st, the moon is in Aldebaran, the first and the most important royal star, and the moon has at that day, on the 20th, on the 21st of December, the opposition of the very powerfully visible Jupiter and Mercury. And this is wonderful because this is expanding their powers. So this could be a very interesting day for your incomes. Also, spirituality will be involved because of the placement of Jupiter and Mercury. This would be a wonderful day for beauty activities, like this would say beautifying activities. The day would be very good for your incomes, because then the moon also will pass through Rigel star, also associated with money and wealth. So you could have good day for your income. So you may concentrate your energy on your trade, on your business, on your communication. This would be fine, much better for your love relationship, emotions. New initiatives, maybe, but as I said, depends on the activity, but in general, it's a good day for the incomes. And then on the 22nd of December, the moon enters Gemini, and the star Betelgeuse, which you see very easily on the sky, from the constellation of Orion. And Betelgeuse is a star associated, it's quite Martian, it shines in red, and it's associated with spirituality, with esoterics, occultism. This is wonderful day for communication, negotiation, for if you have like media product that you want to launch, or that if you want to publish an article and you want this article to be read, if you want to make a video and you want this video to be seen, this is the day. Though prepare that Mars is still aspecting, so prepare for small possible opposition or conflicts, because Mars is still making opposition. But still, due to the placement in Gemini and due to the visibility of Mercury, this is really very good for negotiation, for communication, but especially for negotiations. Be careful due to the Martian aspect. Be careful also while driving. No surgical interventions. Yes, and I forgot to start with, on this day we have already the full moon. And the full moon, I learned recently something very interesting, because the full moon depends from person to person how you experience it, and depends how your natal moon is placed in the chart. But I learned that from the first appearance of the full moon, the emotion you get, the thought you get, will actually determine how your full moon experience will develop, will be on this particular cycle of the full moon, on this particular lunar month. Because you know that the beginning of every cycle is determining how the whole cycle will look like. So when you see the full moon in the evening sky, see what you experience, see the first thought that comes up in your mind, and this is what the full moon will bring you. Some people benefit a lot. They have energies which drive them to work, to create. Other people rather stay home, meditate, because they do not really experience very positively the energies of the full moon. So in any case, not good for new beginnings, not good certainly for medical interventions, is the full moon day. You may benefit, but as I say, depends on your native moon, depends on how you experience the full moon energies. If you feel like meditating, if you feel like creating beautiful artistic products, also very wonderful, because still the moon is in Gemini. A similar thing is for the 23rd of September, and then the moon is already waning. It is on the 24th of September. It is in Cancer, and it's very good for surgical interventions, for meditations, healing, psychological activities. For those who are psychologists, healers, it's a wonderful, would be a very, very good day. But new beginnings, no. And then similar thing I would say for December 25th, when the moon is still in Cancer. During this day, you may also enhance your intuition with some practices associated with the placement of the moon in Cancer. On the 26th of December, the moon is in Leo. On this particular day, it's passing Hydra, it's passing after that Regulus, a star in the heart of the lion, a royal star associated with leadership, courage. This is the star of the king. So yes, you may desire to have leadership activities, duties. This is fine. And this is a nice placement of the moon for ruling your activities, for ruling your business. But it is not nice for new beginnings. It may be good, though, for surgical interventions, medical interventions. It will be good for your routine work. It will be very good for the routine work of astrologers, different as people engaged in different esoteric activities. And then 27th of December, similar, because then the moon is passing Zosma, again, a star associated with astrology. According to Hermes, this is purely astrology. Then on the 28th of December, the moon is in Virgo. And this placement is a bit tense because it is exact opposition between Moon and Mars. So even though you may have good communication, media work on this day, be cautious, be aware of not to be involved in any conflicting and risky situation because Mars is making aspect. Same for 29th of December, a little bit less because the aspect of Mars is already a bit, the moon is disappearing a little bit from the tithe aspect of Mars. Still, if you do medical interventions, let these interventions be not very critical, not surgical, for example. Again, because Mars is still influencing. No new beginnings. For your routine communication work, negotiations, it will be fine. And then on the 30th of December, the moon is entering Libra. Beautiful for beauty practices, for artistic work, communication, for work of those who are engaged in exact sciences, like architects or accountants. Beautiful, they will be blessed during this day. And yes, this is on the 30th of December. And then on the 31st of December, the moon continues and passes a star, Gemma, which is a star associated very powerfully with these artistic talents that I mentioned. For example, Charlie Chaplin has moon conjoined Gemma, and you know that he's an artist that we don't know anyone like him yet after so many years. So Gemma is a powerful star. And if a person will be born on this day, it will be 31st of December, and with moon with Gemma on the ascendant or mid-heaven, this will be just brilliant. So very nice for the artistic qualities of the person. Very productive, very beautiful. So these are degrees of beauty as well. And then on the 31st of December, the moon is in the last degrees of Gemini, of Libra, excuse me. And these last degrees are not producing very much, but still moon with Venus together is a beautiful thing. Beautiful for beauty, beautiful for creating, beautiful for creativity, beautiful for arts, beautiful for many things, for love, for improving your relationships with your partner, for improving your relationships with friends. So this will be opportunity. 31st, 1st of January already, we're going to 1st of January. And with this I'm completing, because this is finishing the solar month, but the lunar month didn't end up yet. And the lunar month actually will end up on the 4th of January, when the moon will meet the sun and be invisible, and so on. This way we follow up the path of the moon, and based on who the moon sees, we see what events will manifest in our lives. So thank you very much. With this I'm completing until I make my next video on the next lunar month, January. I will soon make also the annual predictions for the whole 2019, which will be based on the first lunar crescent after the vernal, the spring equinox, because this is when the real astronomical year starts. So you can expect my video. Thank you very much.